Okay, good evening. I'd like to call the November 20th, 2018 Board of Selectmen's meeting to order. Can we all please stand for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so I don't have any announcements this evening. Is there anyone here for anything that's not currently posted on our agenda? Seeing as none, we will move right into the FY 2019 tax classification public hearing and possible votes. So I would now move to open the public hearing, right?
Yep. That's right. So you just did.
Second.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, just read over the, I guess I just read over this.
Actually,
No,
you
yeah,
just,
Jack, come on,
no,
guys.
let them read over.
You guys do it.
They've been practicing, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent.
Good evening. All right, so we're here for the F-19 classification hearing and the Board of Assessors opinion and notes. You all have our little bullet presentation in front of us, just to go over them. Calendar year 2007 saw, with a sales analysis, saw the average single home increase 3.5% compared to fiscal year 2018 sales. Basically means sales are going up in the town. That's good. Total assessed value of the town was $1,020,072.294, which is an approximate increase of 3.8% from last year.
1 billion?
Oh, billion, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In fiscal 18, it was 982 million. So again, 3.87 increase from last year. Based on these numbers, we anticipate a fiscal 19 tax rate to be $17.50 per thousand, which is an increase of $1.43. Basically an 8% increase from last year. The FY19 average single-family home is assessed value is $306,600 compared to FY18 of $296,100. This will show a tax increase of about $607 per household, based on if your house is around $306,000. The median family home assessed at $293,500. And we do, just for reference, we have 102 single-family homes right now assessed greater than $500,000 in the town of Douglas. If we were to shift to a dual tax rate, the commercial, industrial, personal property tax rate would be $26.25, but it would only show a reduction in the residential rate down to $16.95. Based on these numbers, the Board of Assessors suggests a single tax rate for all class properties. Any questions?
Is this the first year we hit over $1 billion?
Yes.
So that's kind of a monumental moment for us.
Yeah.
Nice job, Dave.
Okay. I don't see how I could possibly take credit for that, but
Take one given.
exactly.
One of the reasons for the $1.43 tax increase, obviously, is the Prop 2.5 override.
And that
So-
applies to the 607 increase as well?
Correct.
Thank
Correct. We had, I believe we anticipated a tax rate of $17.60 when we were going through this numbers. Based on the fact that the values increased some, the rate went down to, or came in at 17.5. So it's, one goes up, the other doesn't go up as much.
Well, we've always supported a single tax rate. I don't think there's any probably disagreement on that. It wouldn't really help that much and certainly would discourage any business.
Oh, absolutely.
coming in town, so
Yeah.
we don't think we want to do that.
I have no questions.
I don't have any of them.
Thank you.
Okay? We just need you guys to
Vote.
the vote on
Yeah.
it now.
First,
close
just a
the-
public hearing,
yeah.
so you have to see if there's anybody in the audience that wants to comment.
Is there anybody that'd like to comment on the public hearing? Seeing as none,
I move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Made by Mike and seconded by Hal and Dave. All those in
Is
favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Now we would vote, correct?
Yes.
I move that we adopt a single tax rate for all classes of property.
Second.
Made by Dave, seconded by Mike. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you.
Easy. So for item number 2,
Specify the actual tax rate that we have to.
Did we do? I don't think we
You
did.
can't specify the tax rate.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because there's always a,
yeah, you don't really, necessarily, yeah.
so item 2, we have the police department items and Chief Miglianico and possible votes. Chief, come on up.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good, Chief.
So I have Sergeant Aaron McLaughlin with me, and first thing we're going to do is give you an update on our accreditation process. Sergeant McLaughlin's the accreditation manager, so he's overseeing the process, so I'll give you an update. Good evening, everyone. Pass these down. Sure. In the packet, I put together just a brief overview of what we're doing, where we're at. On the last page of it, there's going to be another agenda item to follow up, but I know that this is supposed to be an update, but I just want to give you a little bit of an overview of the certification and accreditation process at the same time too. We started this a few years ago. We've been in the self-assessment phase for a little bit of time now. If you break down what we're required to do through the Massachusetts Police Accreditation Commission, there's 257 standards that we have to comply with, and those range anywhere from one item that needs to be completed to 10 or 15 in each section. The initial phase of our certification right now involves 159 different standards. So we were able to kind of jumpstart this year, starting in January into March. We were able to have an intern that came in over the course of the summer who was perfect for us. She did a ton of work, and from there, myself and Officer Brett Falone have been trying to keep up involved with the process. Our hopes are to finish through this year, January, February, with the initial certification process, where you move to an internal mock assessment, and then you reach out to the commission to come in and do an assessment with their process, and then you move to actual certification. So the biggest hurdle to all of this is just the time that it takes to do it, but there's a lot of benefits to it. As you see in the map on the third page, it says there's 216 different towns that are involved with the Accreditation Commission. Out of the 318 towns and cities in Massachusetts, that 216, a good portion of them that say they're involved are in self-assessment. You'll see on the map, there's only a real handful that are actually certified and accredited. So we're hoping to kind of get ahead of the game there. You see Worcester County, there's really not a lot of agencies that are completed now, so we're trying to get involved with it sooner than later to get ahead of the industry standards in it. Some of the benefits that you have from this, it provides a norm for your agency to judge its own performance. A lot of it will help correct deficiencies before they even become a problem, whether to the public or internally. It requires agencies to commit their policies and procedures to writing. We roughly, as the chief's going to present to you with the rules and regulations, policies and procedures, outside of that range between 80 and 90, depending on what we will finish up from there, which we're trying to review all those now. In this process, as the policies and procedures give us guidance and the officers guidance to go through and do our job normally, the Accreditation Commission, through their standards, it's kind of their roadmap as far as what they've found that works over the years to give to an agency to say, hey, this is where you need to start, this is what you need to do, how you can go through it do it most efficiently, and to be able to accomplish what your goals are in a reasonable amount of time. It allows an agency to independently evaluate its operations, promotes public confidence, mostly through transparency. Anything that we do, the public pretty much has full access to through records requests or what our policies are put out as, as you're going to see through the rules and regulations. Everything's pretty open and honest. Professional credentialing programs, and through all this, it's pretty good way to have effective risk management through knowing all your policies, procedures, and this system forces you to go through every year in a timely manner to review most of your policies and procedures that will, be hot topic items like use of force or pursuits, dealing with employees in an effective manner. And then I listed through the bottom what the main points are as far as what they're trying to look at, some of the bigger topics, what the commission hopes to have you accomplish most productively. But as of now, we're with the interns' help and what we're doing, I think we're about 75% completed in the initial certification process, but it will take a couple more months to be able to get everything done and then review it and then reach out to the commission for approval to be able to have a mock assessment. And then from there, the commission will allow you to finish the other 98 standards within a year of certification, which I think is probably going to be pretty reasonable for us to accomplish at this time.
You're saying your goal of accreditation is within 2019?
My goal, yes. We've made a lot of progress. I don't know if it's going to be realistically that's going to happen. It all depends on what we have for time and what's going on in town, but every free moment that we have that we can dedicate to this, we're trying to get ahead of it because the commission, we're operating on a 6 standard. They're trying to incorporate a 7 standard. So they're giving us a window to be able to finish, to be certified under the 6 within a year, calendar year, to do the accreditation process under the 6th edition. So my goal is to use the rest of the next 3 months with everybody that I can get on board with this to do it before it comes into the summer months, which then it kind of has to be put on the bookshelf in that amount of time, but we've come a long way.
Yeah, we're in good shape at this point. So we think we can get the certification fairly quickly, which is the first step, and then we can get those other, I believe, was it 98 standards for the accreditation. We can do that within that year, and then when they come in, they don't have to go back and do all those previous standards if you do it within a year, and we think that we can make that mark. But simply put, these are the best standards in policing, period, nationally and statewide. And what this does is make sure that not only we have those standards, because you can put anything in a policy, but if you're not following it and documenting it, you just have it in there. But we're going to need to prove year after year that we're actually doing what we say we're going to do, which is good. So we have to police ourselves, and then they come in every 3 years, and they make sure that we have the documentation that we're doing what we're saying we're doing. And that counts, holding prisoners, arrests, use of force reports, pursuit reports. You'd be surprised. There's a standard for everything. But we're getting there.
Cool.
We're in good shape.
Chief, how much effort putting into retaining certification and accreditation once we get it? Obviously, not as much as...
Not as much as getting the initial accreditation, because you basically farm it out. Everyone in the department, literally, all 15 of the full-time officers from me down, is going to have something that they're responsible for. DT instructor is going to be responsible for all the use of force reports. Firearms guys are going to be responsible for all the firearms reports. Detective, confidential informants, there's a standard for everybody, so it's just a matter of, once we get that established, having them make sure that they complete their documentation and they have everything in order. But the hardest part is getting through all the policies and procedures, updating them. A lot of these policies and procedures, when they first came out, the Central Mass Chiefs of Police and Mass Chiefs of Police Association put this book together, and every police department in the state had the same policies and procedures. So what we need to do is we need to take a lot of that material take these standards, adapt it to our department, how we can't just take something, I can't take something from Brockton and bring it to Douglas because it's completely different. You know, you're looking at a, 250-man department compared to a 15-man department. So, yeah, we do a lot of the same things, we enforce the same laws, but sometimes the way we do them in-house is different. So, there's a lot, but the initial part is getting that initial accreditation, and once we get that, we can maintain. I'm confident we can fairly easily maintain what we need to do.
Good, thank you.
And as we build everything into our system, the commission gives you a time frame of where everything needs to be. So we set it up independently through like a scheduling calendar that says, March 15th, you have your use of force, you have your sexual harassment policy needs to be reviewed, sent out. It gives you the time frame to be able to stay compliant with everything according to their calendar and based on what needs to be reviewed independently by our standards at the same time too for what the policies say. So it forces you to do everything on a timely manner to stay in check so that you don't fail when 3 years comes up. So as long as we build everything the right way, it will give us the tools to be able to make sure that we're there when we need to. This is just the biggest hurdle right now is redoing our policies and procedures, the rules and regulations, meeting the standards, and trying to get everything set up so that we can easily maintain it down the road.
Loving all that paperwork time, right, Aaron?
It's a lot of fun.
A lot of reading, a lot of writing.
Yeah. Back to school, huh?
Yeah. So that's where we're at with that. Like I said, I think we're in pretty good shape, so we're moving along. As part of that, one thing I did do is I went through the department's rules and regulations, which used to be a 3-inch, 3-ring binder, was literally close to 300 pages with anything that you can imagine. It hasn't been updated since 2000. And again, that was something that came out originally with Mass Chiefs of Police. Their council would write a general rules and regulation manual for every police department in the state. Obviously, times have changed, things have changed. Was able to go through that, whittled it down, believe it or not, I think between 25 and 30 pages. So as part of the statute, what my responsibility is to do when I redo something like this is to get it to the board. Board has 30 days to review it. You can either act on it and approve it, or if you do nothing, it will go into effect on its own. So I got this, redid this document, got it out to the union, no issues with them. It's, it's a document that I can live by, they can live by, so we have no concerns with it. So what I'll do is I'll leave this in your office. You guys can look through it at your leisure, and tomorrow I'll email you each a copy of it so you can look at it on your own. If you have any suggestions or anything, you can bring them to my attention and we can review it. But it's up to date. A lot of the old stuff in it was taken out. And it's just the nuts and bolts, basically common sense things that you need on a day-to-day basis that fits our department. So I think it makes sense, but like I said, if you have any suggestions, anything to add, or would you like deleted, just let me know and I can take a look at it. So I'll leave this in your office and I will email you each a copy so you have it. All right, moving on. One of the things I wanted to do after becoming chief is create or establish an award for a community service award. And when I was thinking about doing that, I couldn't think of anybody better to name it after than Richard McLaughlin. Now, Richard was a lifelong resident of town, and I know some of you knew him, but he was my training officer in 1996. He already had probably, 20 years on the job, and he always had a smile and a handshake for everybody. He knew everybody in town. He was doing community policing before community policing was even invented, going up to the schools, eating with the kids. I have adults in their 30s coming to the station, and they still ask about him. They say, I can remember when I was in 2nd grade, he used to come up to the school and eat lunch. So he did an amazing amount of things for the town. And I'm just going to read you. So what we did was I went to Aaron and his family, and I told them that I wanted to establish a award in his name for somebody in town who does something good for the community. It's going to be a community award. Officer Richard J. McLaughlin was a lifelong resident of the town of Douglas, serving the community for over 4 decades. Officer McLaughlin was a man of integrity, professionalism, and compassion, serving the community both on and off duty. He gave countless hours to our school programs, Boy Scouts, band boosters, our seniors, and most passionately, our veterans, both past and present. So this award is going to be in remembrance of his legacy and in recognition of those who continue to make Douglas a great community through selflessness and volunteerism. So we've decided that we're going to put this out probably after the first of the year, and we're going to accept nominations. And because Memorial Day was one of his things, he always went to the parades and went around to the grave sites and played taps for the veterans. We're going to accept nominations after the first of the year, and we hope to give out the first award on Memorial Day weekend prior to us. The whole department is here on that day because we do the Memorial Day parade. So when everybody's here, we'll either work with the veterans, maybe do it before we kick off the parade, or either that, or we'll do it here at the station. But there's a lot of great people in town who do a lot of good things for the town. And like I said, I can't think of anybody better to name a community service award after than Richard.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, our family's very excited about it too. And we're going to fund the plaques and the certificates. We discussed it. We had put out, at the time of his death or his funeral, donations to be made, and we set up an account, and we've made a certain amount of donations to some of his charities and such, and we decided as a family to keep the remaining money that we have that we're going to set up in this, that will most likely fund the plaques that we're going to award people, and make up an initial plaque with his picture, a description of the award, and then another plaque that'll go, and we'll do 1.5 inch by 2 inch brass stamps of the people that receive the award every year. And we could have easily given the money out to other charity events, but we figured if we promote this, that'll hopefully inspire other people. It'll be more than a monetary donation to one charity over the course of 20 years or so, and hopefully my kids will take it over then, or someone else will keep the tradition alive. But yeah, he loved working for the town, and he loved volunteering, and there's a ton of people in town that do a tremendous amount for the community. And I don't think we'll be able to recognize all of them, but the committee will try to find the most appropriate person to award it to every year, and depending on what comes in, maybe we'll do honorable mentions or try to figure something else out. But just to inspire a little bit more volunteerism and recognize the people that do a lot right now.
Well, it's a fantastic remembrance of your dad's legacy, too.
Thank you. So the next item I have, we want to talk about the possible purchase of a drone. So a while ago, I think last year, Mr. Wojcik and I discussed it. He brought it up actually when we started talking about the money in the state park fund. And we were considering what that could do for us, and I know it was supposed to be designated for public safety, and we're trying to figure out what we can do with it. And I know we talked about Code Red a little bit, seeing if the money was going to come from there. I know we're still up in the air on how that money is going to get accessed or what that money can be spent for, but I'm just putting that out there, as a possibility. SEMLAC, which is the Central Mass Law Enforcement Council, has started a drone unit. And Sergeant DeGenova with our department and Officer Foynes and Officer Brimmer have been training with them. So they have a Central Mass drone unit now, actually, which we are a part of, and we're training with them. Now, Sergeant DeGenova has his own drone, so he's been using that. There's a couple of different ways to go about it. There's obviously different drones that you can purchase, but it's not so much the drone that is so expensive, it's the cameras that you attach to it. So now they have FLIR cameras, which picks up body heat. It's really like having your own air wing because it's amazing what you can do with these things. And the Semlec unit has been using it for crash reconstruction, taking photos above. They've been using it for search warrants. They've been using it for lost people. Anytime they put a canine out there now, they put the drone up, because if canine's on a track, you can put the drone up and follow the canine and the officers, and if they're getting close to who they're looking for, you can see them already on the camera, so you can guide them even closer. As we get further in with this, we can put a presentation on so you can actually see some footage of what you can do with it. But I think it would be an outstanding tool for the town to have. Any department in the town would have access to it. Fire needed it, we would, obviously go out and do whatever they needed with it. Highway, I mean, the aerial photos that you can get, there's almost anything that you can do with it. It's limitless. And with the technology, the way it's going, they're always coming out with something new. So we can put some numbers together. I just wanted to bring that to your attention to let you know that probably at some point we would be coming back once we get a little bit more organized with it. Again, it depends on what kind of drone you get and what cameras you get to go with it, but you're talking anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000 depending on the equipment. But I certainly think it is something that would be worth taking a look at.
Well, considering a large chunk of our town is state forest, and you got a lot of people that are recreational hiking out there.
Yeah,
I know that the fire department gets called out there quite frequently too. If somebody gets lost on a trail, I think a drone would be huge.
Yeah. And you can deploy it.
Firing missiles.
Yeah.
It can be deployed within minutes, regardless. And you get an Alzheimer's patient who goes missing. You know how much ground you can cover in a short period of time. It literally takes 5 minutes to get the thing up and going, and you can cover, miles, acreage. So there's a lot of things that you can do with it. I just think we have to look at avenues as to how we're going to pay for it and what attachments we would be looking for, and getting a little bit more organized on it. But I don't know, do we get anywhere with as far as what we can use that money for, or is it still up in the air?
We still don't even have an exact accounting of what's there.
Right.
So let alone as to how we can use it. So, but
That is something we probably need to get moving on.
I have another call coming up with our state senator and with DCR. So I think I will make sure that we include Mr. Wojcik, and they do owe us an annual visit, which I will be reminding them of as well. So, and I think that would be a good time to have both the chiefs and have discussions with them regarding the drone idea.
I think it's a perfect fit for the money that's allocated from the park. I mean, it's very logical. That would be one of the biggest uses.
Frankly, I would think a large part of its use would be down there, one way or the other. I mean, there's always lost hikers, whether you're in the summer or fall,
Yeah.
or even the winter. We've had people lost in there snowshoeing,
Yeah.
or whatever they're doing on the trails, but any time of the year. But that would probably be the majority of, anything, forest fires. You get the thing up there, you can locate it.
Maybe we can shame DCR into giving us money outside of what's already allocated.
Certainly a possibility.
I'm not above shaming them.
You could have a fee for assisting in finding lost dogs, too.
There you go.
As far as the visit goes, if you do anticipate doing that, as far as the last year or two, like everything that we've been able to accomplish over the years has significantly paid off, whether it's the increase in fees, they're being able to better maintain their services, more staff, numbers-wise. I could put something on paper, but it's significantly improved. I'm happy to be at the point where we're at.
If you follow the trends over the summer on Dynamic Douglas, it looks like it quieted down up there quite a bit too, so.
Yes, it did.
Other than the usual, people are parking near my house, but
Which is probably gone down.
Yeah.
About 80 to 85%.
you have to have some tolerance to it. It's a state park, it's a body of water, it's in the middle of the summer, you have to anticipate there's gonna be some traffic there. But I think the single park closure thing was huge.
Yeah. That pretty much eliminated the majority of the issues.
No doubt.
And you guys had no incidents up there, and nobody got injured, and that's a good year.
It was much better with the single park closure. So I'll put some hard numbers together for you with different options, just so you have an idea of what we're looking at, and maybe we can look at alternate funding sources, whether it be that account or somewhere else, but I just wanted to fill you in on that, because we are training with the Semlec unit, and we are part of it, so we're hoping that we can, pair off of that and do our own thing as well.
Are we spending to have them trained now?
I am, yeah, because you have to, it's like being a pilot, believe it or not. You gotta get an FAA license, and so there are some trainings that we're going to. Semlec pays for a lot of it, through the regional group, but there are some pilot trainings that I am sending them to, so. But they'll be flying with the Semlec unit regardless anyway, so I'd rather have them trained and ready to go and have the proper certifications.
Yeah, real-time experience, there's no real topping that.
So the next thing I have, we talked a while ago about the traffic on Main Street, going both ways, and recently North Street. So in this packet that I just gave you, if you look up top on the first page, we put our trailer out on Main Street at Cottage, and this was facing westbound. So this is the westbound traffic. So it was out there from August 31st to September 4th, which was a total of 5 days. And the speed on Main Street is posted 25. On the average volume per day, there was 4,207 cars going westbound. So the total volume, if you look at down the bottom there on that first page, there was 21,035 cars. And it shows your speeds. Average speed was 29.3. The maximum speed was 65 at one point.
Yeah, that's incredible that somebody's
Through
doing
Main Street.
65 there.
Right.
Wasn't me.
We didn't get a picture of the car.
Do you have the time of day of that?
I don't think so. I don't have it on this
Hoping it was
report.
3 a.m.
But I can, I can probably get it. There's different things that you can do with this trailer. It's amazing. It will take a picture of it, and, you can get it emailed to you. I mean, it depends on how the camera's set up. You can get the plate. I mean, we don't write tickets based on that, but it certainly could give us information to follow up on. Like if that came in and I got a picture of it, we would certainly follow up on it. But you have to be careful on how you set it too, because you could be in emails left and right, and you have to set it at a certain speed, especially with the speed of 25. So you have to be strategic when you set this up.
Going on record saying it may have been my wife, I'm just saying.
I can speak from experience on the email.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's an outstanding amount of traffic, and I talked to Mr. Wojcik about it before. Even getting out of here, you leave, coming off Depot Street at 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the afternoon. Now, sometimes I leave to go home, I go westbound. Sometimes I take a right and go down Cook Street and come back up around Mechanic Street, because if you're looking right, by the time it clears and you already look left, there's already cars coming. It's very difficult to take a left out of there. The amount of traffic. The fact of the matter is our roads were never built to handle this volume of traffic. That's where we're at this point. And you guys know, we do a lot of motor vehicle enforcement. I mean, we get complaints, we're out there. The speed trailer's out there, we're out there. We write a lot of tickets, we write a lot of warnings. I mean, we're up close to 4,000 motor vehicle stops a year trying to slow cars down. We're on Route 16, we're on Main Street, we're on the back roads, we're on the side roads. It's just, you can't be there 24/7, and you can't handle this volume of traffic. You can sit on Main Street, it's gonna slow the cars down, but it's not slowing the volume down. Us sitting there is not gonna get us out of the post office any faster, because the cars just don't stop. You gotta hope you get somebody considerate that's gonna
Build a
stop and let
flyby
you
like
go
they have in
after a
Saginaw.
while. It's just, I don't think our roads are meant to handle this volume of traffic, and it never had it, and it's not getting any lighter.
Well, the problem is too, is Main Street, there's not much we can do with it. Like, when you get down into that bottleneck area where the post office and Harry's is, you can't widen the road. I mean, unless we want to say, oh, you're gonna move your building 8 feet back.
So so the second page, it was set up, same area, but now it was going eastbound, so taking on the eastbound traffic. And again, you're right around the same thing, 4,392 on average per day. On that one, the high was 56 when it was out that period of time. So, and your average speed was 29.5. And also, a lot of times too, on these roads, we'll get speeding complaints, and then we'll go up there and, we'll do radar. on these smaller roads, like North Street, you know, the back roads, Mechanic Street, Manchester, the cars look like they're going a lot faster than they are.
Yeah.
So you know, you run the radar. Charles Street is a big one too. We get a lot of complaints on Charles Street. You sit down there, and you know, cars are doing 28, 29, 30, 32 miles an hour, but they look like they're going a lot faster than they are. Probably because the way the road is, the way the residential areas, trucks as well. You look at these, you know, dump trucks. You know, sit on the side of the road and watch a truck come, and it looks and sounds like it's going a lot faster than it is. But when you actually hit it with the radar, you know, it's right at the speed limit where it's supposed to be. But there's no doubt it's, you know, it's misleading because it looks like it's going faster than it is. So, you know, you get that. The last one is from North Street recently, and that was out there from 11.2 to 11.8. Now, the max speed on that was 52. I'm not sure what time that was, but the average, the speed limit on that street is 25. So your average speed was 26.87. And even your volume on that's set up one way southbound, so that's going towards Sutton. I'm sorry, that's coming into town. And, you know, 573 vehicles a day on North Street.
It's a lot of cars for that.
I'm amazed at these numbers, Main Street and North Street. They're much higher.
That is a lot of cars.
I'm not amazed, because I go down through there every morning, and it literally feels like I'm in downtown Boston sometimes.
5,000 cars a day on Main Street. That's a lot of traffic.
I've been a couple of times. It's been backed up all the way to GBI. Like, you just kind of sitting there.
Yeah, it
like,
depends on when you come through in the morning. I mean, if you hit it at the wrong time, there's a lot of traffic
Trying to go
going.
off West Street in the morning, it's around even 6:30.
Getting out of
7.
West Street, yeah.
It's almost impossible to pull
Yeah.
out unless somebody lets you go.
Right.
I pay people to go down through there when you're trying to get out.
And some woman sort of slowed down and let somebody out, I think a couple of weeks ago. She gets rear-ended,
Yeah.
you know? So you take your life in your hands when you do that.
So you caused an accident, is what you're
Well, the
saying.
person in front of me, she let out, not me. But
That was a
And-
confession, he caused it.
And, you know,
Go ahead.
so we put the trailer out there, which slows people down for a little while, and we put the patrols out there, which slows people down for a little while. They said we stop a lot of cars. We would write a lot of warnings. We tell people why we're out there. We get a lot of complaints on speeding cars, almost every road in town. I mean, if we're not getting, we're getting a complaint, you know, once a week, but a lot of times, depending on where you are, I think, you know, it's the volume of the traffic in the morning. You know, I don't know what more that we can do what we can do to decrease the volume of the traffic. I don't think we can.
No.
You know,
Build a wall.
Deal with
Make
it.
Webster pay for it.
Signage, like.
signage, North Street, I think North Street, there was a couple of areas where we might look at a couple of more signs. Main Street, coming into Main Street, I mean, it's posted fairly well,
yeah, it is, it really is.
No, it is that. I just,
you know.
I don't know what more you could do with signage on Main Street.
Right.
maybe
I don't
less.
think-
We could have John Farno just throw seek alternate route signs up everywhere.
I mean, I don't think the issues here are the speeds. From what I'm seeing, they're not outrageous. You know, the flyer.
Right.
You always have the one or two flyers, but the issue is the volume.
Yeah, I agree.
And we don't have any control over that.
Yeah.
Like I said, unless you want to close 16 down and say seek alternate
It's a
route.
state route anyway.
Yeah, no, you really can't control the volume, and I think that's what the biggest problem is, like not being able to get out. I mean, coming through Main Street 99% of the time, it's not speed, because cars are going through, there's too much traffic for someone to fly. If that car doing 65 through Main Street, I'm guessing is probably going to be 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, that's, you know, one that got by. It's not, you can't do it during the day because there's too many cars in front of you. There's too many cars in front of you, so.
I'd be happy to do 25 sometimes during the day.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm willing to look at anything that we can look at. I'm open to any suggestions, signage or otherwise. But, you know, for the time being, I think we keep getting the trailer out there. You know, we
think
be
it helps.
as visible as we can down there. It's not a lot of violations in the downtown area. You know, later at night when traffic slows down, like I said, you know, you might get somebody that's zipping through there a little faster than they should when there's no traffic, but it's, I agree with Dave. I think the biggest problem is volume at this point.
Well, do you do like sting operations on crosswalks?
Crosswalks, we have done them in the past. Friday, Saturday nights down there are very busy. So,
The hardest part with a lot of that is just getting back to the volume. You might find a violation, but trying to find somewhere to catch up to the car, to stop the car, sometimes you're creating more of a risk to go after somebody for having a crosswalk violation, then it's worth. Not that you want to avoid all that. We're trying to be down there as a deterrent, but it's difficult to even do traffic enforcement down there sometimes.
Yeah.
We had a lot of the signs that were in the middle of the road years ago, which kind of works, slowed people down. John put out the signs at the crosswalks that show that there's a crosswalk there. As long as they stay painted, they're visible. But the trucks were running over the signs in the middle. There's not enough room. And a lot of it just comes down to people that need to pay more attention, to be mindful of who else is on the road. We could sit somewhere every day for 100 days, and day 101, people are speeding, they're breaking the law all over again.
and be honest with you, it's not, at this point, the people who travel through Douglas every day know that we're out there. You know, you stop somebody on Webster Street now, it's somebody who's not from around here, or you know, the main areas downtown, someone flying through is not someone who travels this road every day. The people who travel this road every day know that we're out there, so they're not the problem. The residents aren't the problem. They get it. They know the traffic issues that we have.
Guys.
It's the people who don't travel through here who are in a hurry and, you know, buzzing through. So I mean, we can do some further research on this. I mean, again, we can go around, we can look at all the signage again. We can utilize the trailer as much as we can. We can continue to be visible down there, but not to beat it to death. But it's the volume just can't. The streets just can't handle it.
Yeah, I don't think another speed limit sign is gonna solve it, but
Right.
maybe a less transportation-related sign, and more of a welcome to historic downtown Douglas sign. We have the gift authority signs. I think we probably have access to that. You know, you'll soon be entering highly congested, beautiful downtown area, whatever it is.
Stop and spend some money.
Yeah, something along those lines, and that might not be a police function, but a John Furno function, or a historic commission function, or something, but
Yeah.
You know, the only thing I can think of, and I can work on it down the road, is a lot of times when you have like the crosswalk violations, you have people that are trying to get out into the crosswalk that can't be seen because there's a car that's next to
Yeah,
it.
that is a problem.
Yeah, and then you have people slamming on their brakes, and then somebody's gonna get rear-ended.
Yep.
We could look at limiting some of the parking around some of the crosswalks, specifically by itself, to give people more line of sight, more visibility.
That might help.
Yeah, because I've noticed that's happened to me a few times, you know. To stop, I would have sort of had to slam
Right,
on my
if
brakes.
you look up,
Yeah.
you look to stop, and then you look in your rearview mirror and say, is it safe to stop, or I'm gonna get whacked?
Yeah.
It's a catch-22.
Parking downtown's limited at best.
Yeah.
Anyway.
we appreciate follow through with that, though.
Yep,
Thank you.
not a problem at all, and like I said, we'll continue to look into it and see what else that we can do. My last thing is a new patch. So as of November 1st, we designed a new patch for the police department. We wanted to add the town seal, which we did in there. We wanted to keep our American flag, and we put our blue line flag in there. And we also, we wanted to pay tribute to all the officers who have been killed in the line of duty. So this here is the national symbol for when an officer has been killed in the line of duty. We normally wear our mourning bands, but we wanted to pay tribute to them and keep it on the patch. So we added that. So as of November 1st, everybody has been wearing this patch, and it says, "In memory of many, in honor of all." So I'm going to give each of you your own Douglas police patch you can put on your bulletin board.
Love
Look at
that.
it every day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry for taking so much of your time. That's all we have. So if you have any questions for us, I'll leave this in your office, and I'll email you each a copy. And like I said, if you have anything you want to add or talk about, feel free to contact me. Okay?
Great.
All right.
Thank you,
Keep up the good work.
gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yeah, I brought one for you.
First patch.
Suzanne was the one doing 65.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe hers should be upside down until
Wasn't
she
me.
corrects her ways.
Should be.
One.
I didn't mean to take two.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome. Have a good night, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
Stay safe, guys.
Hey, thank you very much.
All right, so this brings us to the appointment for Open Space Committee, Gallagher and possible votes.
And your packet is an application from Becky Gallagher for the vacancy on open space. Ms. Gallagher has been attending the meetings, and the committee does recommend her appointment.
Is she-
Originally, she was going to try to be here, but that was, 2 weeks ago when we confirmed that, so I'm not surprised that she wasn't able to make it.
No worries.
So if you appoint her, please appoint her to a term ending June 30th of 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Made by Mike, seconded by Dave. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
The horses, she must be good.
We have another appointment for the Employee Insurance Advisory Committee for Huff and School Non-Employee Representative, possible votes.
Right. As I told you at your last meeting, that we were trying to get all these positions filled. The last one was for the non-union employees for the school department, and we had an employee step up. I'm probably going to butcher her name. Jocelyn Huff. She will not be here, but if you could please appoint her for a term ending June 30th, 2019. These are all one-year terms, so.
So moved.
Second.
Made by Dave, seconded by Mike. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Aye. Appointment to the Council on Aging, Vincent, possible votes?
I've heard that name.
I've heard that name before.
You want to meet him?
Come on up.
What's he look like?
I have some concerns about this appointment.
I do too.
This will be a long interview.
We're not a rubber stamp here.
How much experience do you have on aging?
He's aging.
This also is a one-year appointment, so if you choose to appoint him, could you please appoint him for a term ending
It's
June
only a
30th,
year. I think we could
2019.
probably see.
You know what?
It's a probationary
Right,
requirement.
A man as busy as our fire chief that's willing to volunteer on any council or committee has my wholehearted support.
Just in a minimum of 1,000 words or more, could you tell us why we should appoint him?
Sure,
No, I'm kidding.
That was one.
yeah,
Any of them include devil dogs?
Two.
they don't.
All right.
No, basically, from a fire chief's perspective, I had the privilege to handle the SAFE program, Student Awareness of Fire Education, in the schools for third graders. We found down the line that I think it went from, that we improved fire fatality deaths to a mere, set by 72%. So we really brought those fire fatality deaths. So I look at children and our elderly as very vulnerable parts of the population. So I feel, as a fire chief and as someone who deals with them in the ambulance and in the community, that, somebody really should be going to bat for them. What we've tried to do ahead of time, myself and Patrice, was create a log where we know who has medical emergencies, who's on oxygen, things like that. So when we have a storm or people lose power, we know we need to target those ones who have those needs. So, it's become something that's near and dear to me, and that, I've been wanting to get on this committee for quite some time. There weren't any openings, so I had talked to Patrice again, and she checked it out for me, and that's about it.
I have no objection.
No, it's,
I'll make a motion that we appoint him to the committee.
I'll second that.
So, it was made by Dave and seconded by Hal. He beat you to
Oh,
it.
did he?
Yeah, he did.
Speak up, Al, I didn't hear you.
All
You have to
those,
think long and hard.
I didn't hear him either, but I'm deaf.
What?
huh? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Chief.
Congratulations.
And thank you. All right, so revised job description, highway superintendent, and possible votes.
Mr. Chairman, the last time this job description was updated was 2006. We've gone, it's really not that bad in the grand scheme of things. We've begun the process of performance evaluations for our department heads, which will require revisiting each and every job description except for the police chief, because the police chief was hired in the last year to that position, so his job description was already updated and approved by the board. But as we make amendments to these things, I believe it's either the policy or the personnel bylaw, but it does require your approval. The text of the job description changed very little. I just made grammatical changes. Having been through any number of experiences with ADA issues that have arisen with employees and other places where I've worked, just spent a lot of time on the physical requirements of the job, make sure that that's probably where I added the most detail, just to make sure that, you know, we're always in a position defending the town's interest, that we have somebody who has the physical abilities required to perform this job, which does have outdoor and equipment operation responsibilities. The Labor Council for the town reviewed the document and approved it as to form, and Mr. Furno is agreeable to this formulation of the job description. I would ask for your approval. And once I have some direction from you on the job description, I'll complete the performance evaluation for Mr. Furno, and I'll have other recommendations for you.
We have 3 readings of this, or are we going to move quicker?
No, it's not a policy, strictly speaking.
So moved.
Second.
Made by Dave, seconded by Mike. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I am omitting item number 7. That's very true. We do.
So now we know who runs the town.
Unfortunately, she can't hear.
Huh? Brings us to the minutes for the October 16, 2018, October 23rd, 2018, and November 13th, 2018 minutes.
Make a motion that we approve the October 16, 2018 minutes, as well as the October 23rd, 2018 minutes.
And I don't see the November ones in here. It's probably because I wasn't here to get them yet, so I just put them there hoping I'd have them, but they're not ready yet. Oh, did you guys make that ever?
Yeah, I'll just make it work.
Oh, that was the,
Election day.
that was the election day, but you met before, so I was hoping that you.
So my motion's on the table.
Town employees.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
Was it seconded?
before.
No, not yet. I'm waiting
This is
Second.
just for the 16th, right?
for both.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Made by Tim, seconded by Dave. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
What are we doing about the 13th?
We're gonna do that next
We
time.
didn't get those yet, so I just put it there hoping that I'd have them in time, but I didn't, so
My goodness, there was something wrong on the agenda.
not my fault. It was my fault, I admit it. Just being proactive. What can I do?
Mr. Wojcik, this brings us to your report.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to go over a couple of things. There were questions asked at Fall Town Meeting regarding the lease of the field to the Axman Soccer Club. And I'm not entirely sure that citizens who raised those questions actually got good enough answers to their questions. The lease does actually address most of the issues that were, as far as I can find, all of the issues that were raised by citizens that evening, so I just want to go over it very quickly. A resident asked if the premises to be leased are actually laid out in the lease document. Well, you would hope so, and they are. It's 85,000 square feet of the property at Martin Road. And it's that undeveloped space that currently lies behind the playground. So as you come up the driveway and the playground's on your right, there's, you know, a good almost 2 acres there. That is where the field would go if the grant funds come through, and that's where it would be located. The second question that I thought we needed to provide people a detailed answer to is, you know, there was a question of, is this going to be only for the club, only for that particular soccer club? And the lease is pretty clear in a number of places that that is not true. And it's right here in access and use of premises, which is section 1 of the lease. The owner grants lessee the non-exclusive right to use the premises as is necessary for maintenance and post-construction access and use of the field as described herein. Now, it does give the Axemen the opportunity to schedule their, you know, any use that's not their use, and that's only fair if they are the lessee and they have gone out and got the funds to build the field and they try to maintain it, that they'd be able to schedule it. But it is non-exclusive, so that it's not one of those things where you can say, get off my field, because it would be the town's field. The last question that I was, you know, who is going to be on the hook for maintaining it? That issue was dealt with in the lease. Lessee and owner shall share the responsibility of maintaining the premises in good condition, reasonable wear and tear and damage from the elements accepted. The lessee shall not be required to provide operating costs of the premises or to provide funds for maintenance or repairs. The lessee's contribution to maintaining the premises shall be by supplying volunteer laborers. I think this is the arrangement the Recreation Commission has with most of its fields already. The town does mow fields. So the highway guys are out there mowing the fields, and as we contemplate how we want to manage our facilities, that may or may not be something that we put on the table and change that responsibility back really to a maintenance function that existed before budget crunch. But that is a discussion for a much later time. So the issue was addressed in the lease. I just want people to know that if they had had the time to really review the lease, all the questions that were raised at town meeting are answered here. The second issue is the town's website. We briefly tried to post the new website as our live website. It is a very nice looking website. It has a tremendous amount of functionality. The town is buying a platform called Civic Plus. That's the name of the company. Other communities around us in Massachusetts, and I believe Sutton is the closest that is on the Civic Plus website model. It's a piece of software. It allows you to communicate with other people and access information in a way that is much easier to use, and frankly, there's a lot more functionality than our existing website. And we're going to kind of separate things, so not everything is going on that home page. We have everything right now from contracts to event announcements to other kinds of announcements, all hodgepodge on one page. Now those bid opportunities will be on one page. Events and community news will be on another page. And if you're the kind of person who wants to keep track of these non-urgent messaging from town government, you can sign up for either an email or text notification every time a change is made to the town's website through a functionality called Notify Me. So it's a very good platform. I didn't choose it. It was chosen a couple of years ago before I started working here. And work was done to prepare the site for launch, and it was never launched. That was actually a tremendous waste of the taxpayers' money, because it wasn't cheap. It was $35,000. So what we've tried to do with our new IT guys is make sure we get to the point where we can launch the site. So after his only being on duty here for a few months, we're ready to go. Unfortunately, Civics Plus wasn't. So they didn't activate a lot of the functionality of the website that was supposed to be active. So the day we put the website up as our live site, people were attempting to subscribe to services and set up e-payments and other things, and it didn't work. So that was brought to our attention before the end of the day. We took the new site down, put the old site back up, And ongoing efforts are underway with Civic Plus to make sure the whole functionality, we will, because they've let us down, we're going to do the extra pressure testing to make sure it's fully operational before we put it back up again. The only place where we were a little disappointed with our IT vendor was, the redirect needs to be there. So what people need to understand is that our bulletin board for all of our meeting agendas and minutes is really a very good, nifty tool. It's very simple, it's very elegant, it never breaks down. So we're not going to do away with that, we're going to keep that. So if you go back to the douglasma.org website address, you will always go to the bulletin board, and there'll be nothing else there. What needs to appear is a redirect that tells you if you're looking for the main site, click here, so it takes you to the douglasma.gov website, which is where all of the town's information
Two
comes.
different addresses then?
It'll be two different things, but now when you're in the main website and you want to see agendas and minutes, you click on that, it's going to take you back to the bulletin board at douglasma.org.
So it's a URL or a pointer.
Yeah, so those two directional pointers weren't installed before the website was launched, which is why people got stuck on the bulletin board. But the bulletin board that everybody really seems to like and is easy for us to use internally is going to stay, is going to continue.
I always thought the assessor's information was rather weak in the maps compared to other towns to find out assessed valuations of property and the layers it has. Are we working to clean up that a bit?
That's our GIS relationship, which is a separate thing.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in your comments, because I actually think that it's the best one I've ever.
I should check some of there's some outside like Vision something or other.
Yeah.
And you click on this and you can put information in and get more, I think, than
Yeah.
like field cards and things like that.
You can get field
You
cards.
get field
on that.
cards now.
Yes.
Okay, all right, maybe.
I've done that.
All right.
It's just a little bit,
Yeah,
it's
those little
not as
cumbersome
intuitive.
things,
So
yeah.
we had Vision in Tiverton. First of all, you only get what you pay for.
Yeah.
So those extra modules to get some of the
Yeah.
whiz-bang things that you like are actually quite expensive. You'd have to think through what you want. Right now, if it has the information icon in it,
Yeah.
your cursor, and you click on a lot and it turns yellow, there'll be a pull-down menu that'll say document links and CAI property card. So the property card with complete with the photo and the
Field
sketch
would be there.
will be there along with all the relevant fields. But I hear you, because it's not the easiest thing. And we've found that what we make available through our website and what we have access to internally, there's a pretty big difference in the quality. So it's something that we're talking about with the assessor. We reduced the cost of that item this year by doing away with a license that we don't use. The building official doesn't use GIS functionality internally, so his license was absorbed by the budget. It's not funded anymore. But so to get back to my update, the Notify Me function will be there for all basic community information that's of a non-urgent nature. We had discussed some time ago signing a contract with Code Red, which is an emergency messaging device or functionality that will link to our website, will be separate from it. In other words, it operates on its own. It's not reliant upon the website, and it's for emergency purposes only. So a policy will be brought to the Board of Selectmen for your review and for 3 readings, so that everybody who has the authority to launch messages follows the policy. The notion is we never want to abuse Code Red. Code Red should only be used for true emergencies or when an event with significant impact comes up with almost no notice. Douglas doesn't have trash pickup, but if you did, we might send Code Red out if it was canceled for inclement weather, because we don't want people putting barrels out when we're plowing snow. But we wouldn't put out a Code Red if the transfer station was going to be closed for a day. We'd put that on the website, and if you subscribed, Notify Me would send you the non-urgent message. Code Red is about $4,300. Town meeting approved the remaining $1,500 that we had hoped to get from the Forest Fund. Frankly, we just never heard back from DCR after multiple attempts to get them to answer the question, can we have the money out of the Forest Fund? They simply didn't give us the courtesy of responding. So we went to town meeting, got the extra $1,500, and we're sending the shape files and the phone listings that we have access to Code Red. What'll happen once we execute the contract and it's set up downstairs in dispatch, we'll do a test message, and we'll have the functionality on the website. So we'll launch a message, and we'll tell people, we'll direct people to the website. If they want to opt out, they will be able to go into Code Red and opt their phone number out. Or if they have 5 devices and they only want the messages to go to 2 of those 5 devices, they can delete the 3 contacts that they don't want used and just go to the 2. Code Red is a very widespread technology. It's and one of the great things about it is you can put the app on your phone, and then no matter where you go in the country, you'll get a message for the location where you are, because they have your GPS locator. If they know you're in rural New York and there's a severe thunderstorm warning, it'll show up on your phone with the usual alarms. So that's also in progress. Lastly, from town meeting, I just wanted to update people. We did execute a long-term purchase contract for electricity. We locked in the rates that we discussed that night of 9.98 cents per kilowatt hour for years 4 and 5 from hence. So that's actually a great price, and it was highly recommended by the town's consultant. And we did execute as well a 60-month agreement with Spectrum Charter for our greatly discounted operation. So in the grand scheme of things, we did the math. We could be saving in a 5-year time period with the reconfiguration of the town's network close to $120,000. We're spending 55 this year, which was in the warrant and was approved by town meeting, for the IT consultant who's getting this done for us. It's still a net of 70,000, and people will be much happier. Our work environment's going to be much smoother, and we'll have a clear path forward for being able to communicate with the internet in a reliable way. So that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, any old business? Seeing none. Any new business? Seeing none. Entertain a Bonin motion at this point.
All right. I would like to make a motion that we... Oh, how does this... I'd like to make a motion.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I would like to make a motion that we, what do we suspend this thing? What do we do? Enter into executive session for the purposes of contract negotiations and interest in real property, and then to leave executive session for the purpose of adjournment.
I would second that well-worded motion.
That was not good, but thank you.
Made
for
and
your
seconded.
support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, roll call vote.
Mike Hughes, aye.
Tim Bone and I.
Kevin Morris, aye.
Hal Davis, aye.
Dave Cortez, aye.
It's just not coming